Hey there, CJ Math students, and welcome to Homework 2.1, Adding and Subtracting Fractions. I'm basically going to go ahead and try and do line 1 and line 4 for you, and you'll be responsible for line 2 and 5. I accidentally skipped number 3. So basically what you want to make sure you do is find common denominators and then write each answer in simplest form, meaning simplify your answer. So for number 1, between 4 and 8, if you look at your reference sheet, put your finger on 4, put your finger on 8, and go across, you'll notice they both have 8 as a multiple, so that is the least common multiple. So I'm multiplying 3 over 2, 3/4, sorry, by 2 to get 6 over 8 plus 5 over 8. Now we have common denominators, and I can get 11 over 8 as my answer. That is simplest form. You could write it as 1 3/8 as well, but I'd like you to circle your answer. So for the next one, for 2 and 3, again, put your finger on 2, put your finger on 3 on the reference sheet, go across. You'll see they both have 6 as a multiple. So 2 times 3 gets me to 6, and 3 times 2 gets me to 6 for 1/3. So I have 3 over 6 plus 2 over 6, which gives me 5 over 8. And again, that's simplified. Circle your answer. For C, we have 3/4 and 2/5. Put your finger on 4, put your finger on 5, go across. You'll see the least common multiple is 20. So 4 times 5 and 5 times 4. So we'll have 15 over 20 plus 8 over 20. 15 plus 8 gives you 23 over 20. So I accept that. I also accept 1 3/20. And then finally put your finger on 6 and put your finger on 3. Go across. You'll see they have a multiple of 3. So times 2 times 2. And then you leave 1/6 alone. So it's 1/6 since it already has the denominator of 6 plus 2/6. And that gives you 3/6. This is not simplified. You have to simplify it. So watch out. You can divide both by 3. So when I divide, I simplify it down to 1/2. And again, circle your answer. All right, so you're responsible for row 2, showing work, simplifying, circular answer, just like I did. It should look very similar to my work, nice and neat and organized. I'm going to do row 4. Notice we've switched from addition to subtraction, but the rules for common denominators stay the same. So times 4, and then times 5, and times 5. I get 12 over 20 minus 5 over 20. That gives me 7 over 20. Circle your answer. That's simplified. For 2 and 10, you'll notice that 10 is the least common multiple, so I only have to multiply 1/2 by 5. So I get 5 over 10 minus 3 over 10, and that gives me 2 over 10. That is not simplified. I can divide both those by 2. Any even numbers, I can always divide by 2. So I get 1/5 as my answer. 7/8 and 1/2. Again, if you put your finger on 8, put your finger on 2, the first multiple they have in common is 8. So all I have to do is work with 1/2 by multiplying by 4. So I get 7 over 8 minus 4 over 8. And that gives me 7 minus 4, 3/8. That is simplified. And then 5 and 3, put your finger on 5, put your finger on 3, and you'll notice 15. So 5 times 3 will get me to 15, and 3 times 5 will get me to 15. So I have 12 over 15 minus 5 over 15, which gets me to 7 over 15. All right, the rest of the front is yours. Again, your work should look nice and neat, just like mine. On the back side, we got some problem-solving ones. So I'm going to do, like, say, number 6 and 8. I'm going to leave you for 7 and 9. So here's where you're going to show your work. You're actually going to put your answers, though, on the line. So Rosa needs to mail 2 packages. One weighs 5/8 of a pound. The other weighs 2/3 of a pound. What is the total weight of the 2 packages? That's question 1. And then how much heavier is Rosa's second package than the first? So the total weight of the 2 packages, that's just going to be this easy addition problem. 5/8 plus 2/3. Total weight tells us, hey, we need to add. So for this, I just say, all right, the least common multiple 3 and 8 have. Put my finger on 3, put my finger on 8, go across to my reference sheet, 24. So 3 times 8, and then also 8 times 3. So when I do that, I will have 15 over 24 plus 16 over 24. Add these together, I'll get 31 over 24. So that's the total weight for the two packages, 31 over 24, or we could say 1 and what is that, 7/24, right? And then the second package weighs how much more than? So how much heavier is Rose's second package? That's a subtraction problem, right? So we're going to go ahead and do second problem on the same line here. And it's going to be 2/3 minus 5/8, right? So we're going to go ahead and again, the least common multiple is 24, so oops, not by 2, by 8, and this one by 3. So we get 16 over 24 minus 15 over 24, and so it only weighs 1/24 of a pound heavier. Very, very little difference. So notice, I didn't just say, oh, I'll read the first question, and I'll ignore that there's a second question. No, I answered both. I had the tools and the skills to answer both. You have the tools and the skills to answer both. So on number 7, don't just pretend like, oh, there's only one question, so I'll just, just do one question. Number 7's very much like number 6. The first part asks for how many total hours did he play on the 2 days. So you're going to do some addition on the first part. And then it says how much longer did Dylan play on Tuesday than he did on Sunday. So obviously you're going to do subtracting Tuesday minus Sunday. All right. Number 8, Daniel spent an hour and 2/3 raking leaves on Monday. On Tuesday, he's raked for an hour and a half. How many total hours did Daniel rake on those 2 days? We're just adding. We're doing, again, it says how many total? It's an addition problem. It's 1 2/3 plus 1 1/2. And now we're asking yourself, all right, with 2/3, in fact, I'll write this vertically. Might be a little bit easier for us to see. 1/3 and a half, put your finger on 2, put your finger on 3 on the reference sheet, go over, up, right, 6, so 2 times 3, and then for this one, 3 times 2. So I have 1 4/6 plus 1 3/6, that gives me 2 and 4 plus 3 is 7/6, but remember that's improper. 7/6 is improper. 6 goes into 7 one time, with 7 minus 6, 1 left over. So 1 1/6 plus the 2 hours I already had from my whole numbers here. So this improper fraction itself equals 1 1/6. Now I add it to the 2 wholes I already had, and it's 3 1/6 hours. 3 1/6 hours. Now on number 9, it's not the same as number 8. It's actually going to say how much longer. So you're going to be doing some subtraction of 5 1/3 minus 3 3/4, and that's going to be a tough one. It's going to be 5 1/3 minus 3 3/4. You might have to do some borrowing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we will talk about it tomorrow in class. That's it. Call me if you have questions.